Hey guys, it's John Trent here with BountyIntoComics.com. There's a pretty interesting story out of Bleeding Cool, courtesy of the Comic Kid on YouTube. It's about Ta-Nehisi Coates and his upcoming Captain America run. If you're not up to speed, Marvel Comics is doing a whole line-wide reboot called their Fresh Start Initiative, and they put on, supposedly we're doing new creative teams on new books with like new fresh stories. And they took Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's been writing their Black Panther book, and they put him on Captain America with Leinil Francis Yu. And Bleeding Cool now has a they got an access to the free comic book day copy of Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America story. And while there's not really much going on, it does look like this story will be getting pretty political. The images that Bleeding Cool revealed show Captain America overlooking some kind of protest. There's like battle lines being drawn. There's like a space in between. You have like two factions, and one of the factions has signs that say "Gehenna will rise again," and it looks like one of they have another sign that says "Hydra will rise again." It's hard to tell. You got three people with the green face paint on the left side that have those signs, and the guy in the middle's head is blocking it. I mean, you can definitely see it says Hydra, and it probably says "will rise again," similar to the other sign. And on the other side, you have a bunch of people wearing, they're all in like dark black clothes. They have bandanas covering their face and their mouths. So it's really they look like Antifa members, while the people on the left are obviously representative of probably the alt-right, and Coates appears to be associating them with Hydra, while the other ones are anti-Hydra people. On these images it says, "So much has changed, the great wars are over," they say, and it's unclear who's actually saying that. My assumption is that it's Captain America, but it's pretty unclear who's saying that. But there's also another image that Bleeding Cool's Rich Johnson revealed, and he kind of talks about what it is. He says, quote, "Obviously stuff goes down, America gets talked about, and so does Captain America, but mixed up in the history of the USA, its legacy, responsibility, and a mini treatise on the principle of might makes right, we also have Russia." And so he shows us like a 3-panel portion of a page. Doesn't even show us the full page. He says, and in the captions it shows it says, "Like you, we reeled against the old world elites. Like you, we embraced revolution. You and I were allies once, revolutionary allies." And the images in the pictures show the Russian royal family pre-1917, and then it looks like it shows the communist revolution in the next panel, and then it appears to show Russians and Americans shaking hands. It's unclear what exactly this means. There's not really much context, but Johnson does go on to show that, and a bunch of nukes are in the story. So that's really interesting. But what's even more interesting is they had actually there's actually an official image release of Coates' story, and it once again shows Captain America. Looks like he's up on that balcony overlooking the scene, and it looks like he's imagining or remembering what happened during World War II. There's an image with Bucky there, and then it looks like Namor and the Human Torch are also there, and Cap's like punching some dude. It's unclear who that guy is. It looks like, honestly, actually, it looks like they're watching a video of Captain America's exploits, so it's not sure if he's actually watching that in the theater after he moves from the balcony, or exactly what's going on. But what it does show us is that Ta-Nehisi Coates' story will be getting political. What's interesting is that Coates had previously said that he was going to try to put Captain America's words in his head instead of putting his words in Captain America's head. And then, but I'm not really sure if, based on the bleeding cool images, if that's really what we're getting here, especially the part with the Russia, that doesn't, I mean, it looks like there's some historical inaccuracies, but it's really hard to tell with what little context that we have. But it does seem that this story will be getting political. Coates is a political writer. He writes mainly for The Atlantic. He's also written a couple books, but his books have been widely panned across the political spectrum. Rich Lowry in Politico said that one of his books, his worldview, he described Coates' worldview based off of his book, and he says, quote, "People to categories and actors in a pantomime of racial plunder. He must erase distinctions and reject complexity." And then I guess Coates said in that book, "White America, quote, white America is a syndicate arrayed to protect its exclusive power to dominate and control our bodies," end quote. And then he would also go on to describe the 9/11 firefighters and police who were trying to save people. And this is how he described them, quote, "They were not human to me, black, white, or whatever. They were menaces of nature. They were the fire, the comet, the storm, which could, with no justification, shatter my body," end quote. So going into this, Coates was a controversial choice to write Captain America. Interestingly enough, when he actually made the announcement that he was writing Captain America, he said, quote, "I'm not convinced I can tell a great Captain America story, which is precisely why I want so bad to try." We'll see what actually happens with this Free Comic Book Day story. I don't want to jump to any conclusions because there's so little that we know about the actual story and what the pages that we've seen leaked by Bleeding Cool. But we do, I mean, it is going to be very political, and it looks like it will be at least diving into current American politics with the alt-right and Antifa facing off against each other. So we'll see what happens in May when Free Comic Book Day runs around. Once again, this is John Trent with BountyIntoComics.com. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can find all those links in the description below. And I'll also be linking to one of our articles about Ta-Nehisi Coates and Marvel's choice to make him the writer of Captain America, so you can see all those quotes for yourself. Have a good one.